Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This time I wanted to get into painting separation. If you're wondering what I mean by that, I was thinking about what I mentioned on my previous videos using layers on an illustration versus working on just one layer. And I guess I would give you a rundown of how I usually aim to work. By that, I mean separating the different elements within a file, painting, or illustration. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that bell so you know when I add content. My goal is to be a resource for anyone that wants to learn about painting while also sharing my artwork for people to enjoy. If you're just starting out with digital painting, this video will help you keep your files organized in a way that makes sense. At least it does for me. I like to think of it in a similar way to how the separated elements on a multiplane camera. If you don't know what that is, well, a short recap is that it was an invention made during the beginning of the animation industry as we know it. The studio that made Popeye, Fleischer Studios, the main competitor for Disney at the time, and Disney themselves developed versions of this device that helped them create parallax and depth illusions within their animations. By separating elements of the frames into separate pieces of glass or acetate, what was near to the screen had its own glass or layer, as well as the characters BG and so on and so forth. And they would mimic this effect, separating and moving the pieces of glass in front of the camera depending on the shot. You can see examples of this if you look at Snow White, some of the Popeye's cartoons, and as filmmaking and animation has gotten more advanced, well, you may see this being applied in different ways. I guess this was a longer recap than what I expected, but I needed to give context to what I want to say. The way I separate elements in my files works with that concept in mind. I have a background layer, sky, plain color, however you want to name it, the farthest elements in the painting, or behind everything. Then I have mid-plane elements, trees, props, etc. that are near the characters. Then I have the characters. And after that, the foreground elements. Anything that is in front of the image. Light effects, a tree in front of the character, etc. This allows me to make sense of what I want to create, keep it organized, and iterate what I need within that when I need to. Always remember to label everything and keep it organized in a way that works for you. And if you're working with a client, feel free to ask them if you arrange to deliver to them editable files. This is not usually included. I charge a different fee for this unless it's mentioned and part of the project from the get-go. Or maybe you're working with a team and that team has a pipeline and naming conventions for different files. It's always a good practice to deliver your files organized. The last thing you want is to share files where nothing makes sense and whoever has to work on it has to dig for what they need. It's a waste of everyone's time and a real headache. Organize your files. If you want to make it super simple, you may label 3 folders. FG for foreground, CHAR for character, BG for background, and you add what corresponds to that to the proper folders. Bonus tip: you may have a folder labeled old where you add the original versions of the folders and keep it turned off and locked in case you mess something up in your painting and you need to go back. Of course, this only works if you remember to save versions of your files in case of a software crash, so keep that in mind. Going back to the subject in question, separating files into layers versus not doing that and working on just one layer. As a matter of fact, when you're painting traditionally, in a way you apply a similar idea. You start from the background and then paint elements in the foreground. Some people find it more convenient to paint everything with just one layer and it works for them. If they're used to traditional mediums, it can make sense for them to do just one layer as it may be a comfortable way to work for them. I believe it depends on the situation and what you want to achieve. Of course, this is my own take on this subject. Everyone has their own process. Take everything you always hear with a grain of salt. And this was my rundown of how I separate digital paintings into layers. I hope that helped. If you have any questions about my process or how I tackle something specific within a painting, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll look to address it in the next videos. If you would like to support this channel, consider subscribing and hitting that bell so you're aware when I add more content. And if you like my artwork, I have merch available on the description of this video if you want to check it out. Also, the pre-sale to Cartas a Venezuela ends this week. Get your copy before that. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.